Okay, I'm here with Jonathan, and we're talking about VR, specifically with two games. We've got Esper 2, and on the other side of the board, Gang Beasts, which is a game, obviously by Bone Loaf, that you are porting over, in the process of porting over to VR. Tell us first about Esper 2. What kind of game is it, and how does it? Because this one feels more built for VR.
Yeah. So Esper 2 kind of came off the back of Esper 1. Like Esper 1 went down really well after the success of the Gear VR, because it originally launched on the Innovator Edition. It reviewed really well, it got highly rated, so Oculus came back to us like after the Facebook buyout sort of thing. They had more money, which gave us a bigger budget for Esper 2, which allowed us to expand it quite drastically. So we expanded the voice cast quite dramatically, so we got Nick Frost, Sean Pertwee and Laura Pulver in there, because we don't have characters, you can't see them. It's all got to be conveyed through the voice. The game overall is a first-person puzzler where you solve puzzles with your mind using telekinesis, which for the Gear lends itself quite nicely because you've got the touchpad on the head, so you kind of put your hand up here and you think Xavier, and you kind of get around that sort of thing as well. The Rift version, obviously we had to map it to a controller because the touch controls aren't really there yet, and then mapping it to the controller works really well. People seem to be loving it at the show. You can see it's going down really well in the background, and yeah, it's been a really fun experience to develop for VR. So.
Okay, on the other side of the board, and a game that we just had a go on, is Gang Beasts. Now, it's a game that we know on Gamereactor, we've played several times, to much hilarity for all concerned. Tell us about the process of porting a game that isn't a traditional VR game into the kind of the virtual reality space.
Okay. So it's kind of like the first point is you take the camera, like the camera now becomes the VR headset, and that's kind of what you would have played in Gang Beasts. You would have saw when you move your head, you can actually look away from the fight completely. Or you can observe the environment a bit better. Obviously, you look away, someone's probably going to knock you out and throw you away, so you might not want to do that. But the overall port process is like cut down on the latency, see what we've got. So it's taking the core game and then adding the VR camera in there to take advantage of the VR peripherals, which allows you to get up close. You can get closer to the action than what you can, but it's also opened up the avenue for Gang Beast multiplayer as well, because being able to do the multiplayer side of it, so it doesn't always have to be done locally, really helps us out, and it's going to help for the normal version of the game as well as the VR version of the game, because not everyone's going to have 4 headsets lying around. These things aren't exactly cheap. So,
as a company, as a studio, you seem to be embracing VR with both hands. At what point did you think this is something that we want to get we want to get behind and we want to put all our efforts into?
So I think it was when we got our hands on the kind of the first DK1. Like in the office, this is a little bit before my time, but in the office, they got the DK1. You start prototyping around it. We learned a lot of what not to do with our first one. In the office we had a prototype called The Climb, and that had motion in, it had you jumping around, it kind of ended, or the trailer we did, you jump off a cliff and you go upside down. Don't do that, that's completely wrong. And then now you see Esper. So we learned all the bad traits of what not to do, and then Esper becomes this seated, sedate experience, and it was it's really new technology, and we kind of felt this was the first evolutionary leap. Like, yes, we've had consoles since the PS1, but PS1 brought like 3D graphics into the mainstream. That was a massive leap back then, and VR feels like it's that leap again now, and it's finally becoming it's finally feasible because the technology's finally caught up, and this is kind of going to be the year of VR. Like every headset launches this year, so it can finally go into consumers' hands, and we can hopefully see how successful it's going to be.
Okay, so last couple of weeks we've had the Vive, we've had Oculus Rift, which we demoed on today, and obviously we've got PlayStation VR coming later on in the year. Is PSVR something that, as a studio, that you're obviously prototyping and experimenting with?
We've looked at it. We do have PSVR dev kits in the office. We have played about with them. I am going to try the PSVR stuff that's here today later on to kind of check it out. Sony have the advantage of having a giant install base, and they have that plug-in to play. Right now I still yes, I work with the Rift, but I still lean more towards the Rift right now just for the experiences I've seen. But I kind of feel there's a market for them all, and they're all kind of going to take different segments of it.
Okay, well, as we've said before, this year's going to be a big year for VR, but kind of looking a bit further into the future, what applications can you see for the tech? And in the far-flung future, what do you think VR is going to mean in a wider sense, maybe even transcending gaming?
Yeah, so gaming's definitely going to launch it. It's what it's being used for primarily now. So over the next year, it's going to be primarily gaming applications, but it can be applied in so many different ways. I mean, Facebook bought Oculus for a reason. We don't know what that reason fully is yet, but they're a social network. There's definitely going to be some social aspect in that. You've got office conferencing will become a major thing, medical, education, engineering.
Porn.
Definitely porn. Unfortunately, it's going to kind of be probably the PC market that gets pushed ahead because of that, because it's more open source than, let's say, the PlayStation, which is a more closed ecosystem. But we had it on Betamax, we had it on Blu-ray, we had it on DVD. It determined which one of them came out on top. It's probably going to be the same for VR.
Okay, well, good luck with the with both of the games in the weeks ahead, and thanks very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much. Great to meet you.